No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of WWE Smackdown for December the 8th, 2023. I hope everyone is doing well. Shout out to David, Matthew, CC Drink, Rage of Wrestling, Caleb, Brian Spencer. Brian, I need to get the saxophone from California. My mom said that she'll ship it when she gets the chance. She's got a lot going on, but I promise you guys, it will happen. It might not be until the first quarter of the new year, but I will be playing that alto saxophone again. You can hold me to it. Now, let's get to WWE Smackdown, a special tribute to the troops edition. Over the years, WWE would do these shows and they would not have any storylines. It would just be saluting the troops and have straight up wrestling matches, basically a house show with the tribute to the troops theme. This year, we did have tribute to the troops, several segments dedicated to the men and women that have served for the U.S., but we also got some storyline advancements on this show. We did kick off with the duo, The War and Treaty, performing God Bless America. Lots of military in attendance for the show. Much of them in the front rows and around ringside. JBL made a special appearance on commentary for the show. I have to say, JBL did good on this show. Maybe without Vince McMahon in his ear, JBL is better on commentary than what he was doing 7-8 years ago. I actually liked JBL's first run as a commentator, like in 2006 and 2007. And then the second go around, I really soured on him. But he was fine on the show. Again, it might be the no Vince McMahon effect, where he was able to just feel more comfortable and be himself and not just saying what Vince tells him to say in the earpiece. We had our first match, which was Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee, with Dominic Mysterio at ringside for the match, and the crowd, of course, chanting, "Dom, you suck." It was a back and forth competitive match here. I was a little surprised that this match took place in a tournament, first round tournament match at that. You would think that they would save this for a premium live event or make it the finals of a tournament. Now, Santos managed to pick up the win clean with the Phantom Driver, which is interesting to me. I mean, it was a clean finish. They are pushing Santos, and he should be the one to advance at this point. Dragon Lee has a match against Dominic at NXT Deadline, which I will be recapping right here on the No DQ YouTube channel, and there will be live results on No DQ. Stay tuned for that. Dominic taunted Dragon Lee after the match, holding up the North American Championship. It was originally supposed to be Wes Lee versus Dominic Mysterio, but Wes Lee has a serious back injury and will need surgery. He cut this emotional promo on NXT this week. The fact that Dragon Lee lost clean here, and they're pushing Dragon Lee too, I think he's going to win the title now, especially with Wes Lee going down with injury. Like, my feeling is they have to go with a feel-good moment now and give the fans a babyface beating Dominic. And Dragon Lee definitely needs the win now after losing clean to Santos. The match was fine, but it never really got out of first gear, in my opinion. Just more of a basic TV match, which is a little unfortunate. Like, these guys could definitely do more, and maybe they'll have a rematch at some point on a premium live event. It was just a standard match. We had a Randy Orton video package, and Orton was speaking to Nick Aldis. Said he did not need LA Knight's help last week, but Aldis put them in a tag team because that's what he wants and what the fans want. And Orton had been fined $50,000 for putting his hands on Nick Aldis last week, giving him the RKO. And Orton gave him a $100,000 check for next time. Good segment here. Reminded me of when Kevin Nash was power bombing people in WCW and getting fined every single time. And he was screaming Attica as he was being handcuffed and escorted out of the ring. Good stuff. Cody Rhodes came to the ring for a special promo. Now, of course, he's on Raw, but Cody is a phenomenal talker, and he did the thing for tribute to the troops. Said he asked to be there. He was proud to continue the tradition. He thanked the servicemen and women in the arena and at home, and then introduced a video package which showcased John Cena interacting with the troops. And then after a USA chant, Cody Rhodes introduced a special drill team, and they did a performance. Walter Cruz, Rage of Wrestling, sent in a $5 super chat. Says, thank you to any military people watching. We salute you. That pop Bobby Lashley got for being military was awesome. Also, like and share the video, damn it. I agree with all that. Thank you for that, Walter Cruz. Bobby Lashley was a babyface on this show, and they introduced him as an Army veteran. And they also showed a little video of Bobby Lashley talking about his father being in the Army for 28 years or 26 years, I think. Lashley had a tournament match against Karrion Kross. Pretty obvious who was winning this one. We had this guy, I don't know who he is. I think he's an NFL guy, but correct me if I'm wrong. Brad Kessler is his name. He was on commentary, and he does apparently watch the product and follow it because he brought up how AJ Styles beat Karrion Kross several months back. Now, in this match, Bobby Lashley was the obvious babyface, and it was another standard match. Lashley picked up the win clean with the spear, and then he had a celebration with the Street Profits. They also had Montez Ford deliver a message, also being a military veteran. They might as well just throw in the towel on these guys being heels. Like, especially after this show, they're never gonna boo these guys again. Apparently, I'm not sure if it's Brad Nessler or Kessler, but he's a very famous CBS college football announcer. Again, I know zero about football, so I'm like the only guy in the world that doesn't watch football and only watches the Super Bowl when I'm basically dragged into it. We had Bayley backstage with Damage Control, and she volunteered to stay backstage while Charlotte went one-on-one with Asuka. Dakota Kai, however, said that Damage Control was going to go out there. Bayley could stay in the back, but the rest of them were going to be out there at ringside for the match. And then we had what was definitely a fun segment. We had CM Punk come into the ring for a promo, and this was not the Raw promo. This was what I think fans wanted to see from that Raw promo. CM Punk went out there and he teased like half a dozen potential feuds. He really set the standard for what a great promo is in 2023. CM Punk, this was a money promo, bottom line here, because he was planting the seeds for all sorts of things. He talked about how it was 9 o'clock. He wasn't going to get his time cut Crowd was loving him. He was getting the CM Punk chants, and he said he was going to make a decision about Raw or SmackDown. And he asked the fans, where should he go? Of course, they wanted SmackDown, being it on SmackDown. He asked if he should win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. He brought up Cody Rhodes, how Cody says, what do you want to talk about? CM Punk said he's known for talking, but he's also a listener. And he's heard that a few people don't like him being all happy-go-lucky. So he decided to talk about some people. He brought up Roman Reigns, the guy who's never around. He acknowledged Roman Reigns. But he had to remind everyone, never forget who the original Paul Heyman guy is. Punk teased a potential match against the Usos. He said maybe he could go to Raw and hang out with Jey Uso, or be on SmackDown and go against Jimmy and Solo. He brought up Randy Orton. Can he trust a guy that he has history with? Maybe he could team with LA Knight. Then he brought up Kevin Owens and how Kevin Owens randomly punches people backstage. And Punk said that this is 2023. You can't go around backstage punching people. It's insane. You can't do stuff like that. This was great. This is what people wanted too, like an AEW reference to Punk getting into backstage fights. So this was a great little subtle reference to AEW. And he started talking about how there's one guy who did not welcome him with open arms. And that person, he wasn't even going to mention this person's name, because this guy is not even the man in his own household, which the man is a reference to Becky Lynch. And of course, he was talking about Seth Rollins. He said, all this guy has is his song. And the crowd was singing it. And then Punk said that he is the monkey wrench in everyone's future plans. He said he is back in WWE to finish what he started. And he said Monday night on Raw, he will put pen to paper as to which brand he's going to. But he made it clear he is going to finish his story by main eventing WrestleMania. And there you have it. CM Punk making his intentions clear, wanting to main event WrestleMania. Michael sent in a $2 super chat, says, original Heyman guy, does he mean Brock Lesnar? Well, that is true. Paul Heyman was with Brock Lesnar before he was with CM Punk. So you could argue that Brock Lesnar was the original Paul Heyman guy. But Punk definitely has some history with Paul Heyman. No interaction yet, so that's something we have to wait a little bit longer for. CM Punk and Paul Heyman in the ring together again. That'll be a fun one. Great promo. CM Punk did a fantastic job here. Oh, yeah, and he even mentioned Shawn Michaels. Like, he didn't even rule out NXT. But we all know he ain't going to NXT. That is highly unlikely in all likelihood. And we had more. They definitely did more with CM Punk here, not just for the in-ring segment, but also backstage. We had him at the Bloodline's locker room, and then he ran into Kevin Owens, and he asked where Nick Aldis's room was, and Owens did not know. And Punk was like, thanks for the help. So they did a little tease for Punk and Kevin Owens. There's some tension there. And then also when Punk finally got to Nick Aldis, Aldis gave him a contract, and then Cody Rhodes came in. Cody shook CM Punk's hand, but then made it clear in order for Punk to finish his story, he has to win the Royal Rumble. and Cody Rhodes is in the Royal Rumble. So we'll see what happens. They tease some tension there. And then when Randy Orton and LA Knight were getting ready for their match, we had CM Punk come in and wish them the best of luck. Kevin Owens and CM Punk, like, I don't think they have a lot of history, but remember, Kevin Owens, very close friends with Matt and Nick Jackson. Now, of course, they're not going to reference the Young Bucks on WWE TV. They might subtly reference something, but yeah, if there is real beef between them, that's probably why, because Owens and the Bucks go back a long way. But same thing with Cody Rhodes and the Bucks. You know, they have their history too. Dave is a Beastly sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins feud will feed families. I mean, it's huge. It's going to be a great match when we finally get to it. And yeah, I'm sticking to what I said. I don't know who's winning the Royal Rumble, but regardless, they got Elimination Chamber to set up another match for WrestleMania. Night 1, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Punk gets his main event. And then Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Night 2. Cody finishes his story. I know some people will be upset if the women's match doesn't get the main event spot, and I'm thinking it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for WrestleMania. So I say go with Rollins and Punk, though. I mean, that's going to be as big of a match as possible that isn't involving Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, moving on here, we got Raw coming up. We got the No DQ review coming up Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So tune in for that. I'm sure we'll be talking about CM Punk and Roman Reigns for that matter. Tune in. Let's move on here. We had Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, and Damage Control was out there, but Zelina Vega and Michin went right after Damage Control, got them out of the equation, and something happened here because it was a short match, and it seemed like it ended very abruptly. Charlotte hit a moonsault to the outside, and I'm not sure if she got hurt here or at some other point in the match, but after the break, she went for the figure 8. Bayley interfered while the referee wasn't looking, and then Charlotte punched Bayley off the apron. Asuka rolled up Charlotte and got the 1-2-3 victory. Now, after the match was over, and you didn't see this on TV, officials were checking in on Charlotte, and they actually had to help her to the back. So something must have happened here with her, because why would she sell an injury when she was rolled up, right? Something happened here. So I hope she's okay, but yeah, it seems like it could be a injury that is possibly serious. Hoping for the best for her. Would be terrible to suffer a injury. I mean, any time would be bad, but especially close to WrestleMania, it would be bad. Virtue thinks it's a work. I mean, I hope so. I hope it is a work. We got our main event segment of the evening. And by the way, Michael, the next No DQ&A will be before the end of the year. I like to do my year in review, like wrapping up the year. So probably the final week of this year, 2023, I will do a special year in review Q&A. So stay tuned for that. Shout out to YouTube Introvert who's watching tonight. I appreciate it very much. Main event, we had tag team action, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa against Randy Orton and LA Knight. Yeah. Basic tag team match here. Not too much to say about it. Randy Orton got taken down with a cheap shot from Jimmy. LA Knight tagged in, did his moves, but then Jimmy helped Solo regain the upper hand. Orton got another tag and then went to RKO Jimmy, but Solo blindsided him. LA Knight came in, saved Orton from getting a Samoan spike. LA Knight dropped Solo with a DDT and then went for a BFT on Jimmy, but Randy Orton took control of the situation. He gave Jimmy the RKO, pinned him 1, 2, 3. And after the match, they did shake hands. Orton raised LA Knight's hand, and all is good with these guys for now. It was fine, nothing too crazy. Pretty basic tag team match here. Good guys won. And all in all, it was a fun show. Fun tribute to the troops. Definitely check out the CM Punk promo. I'm not going to do the letter grade because it was tribute to the troops, but it was a very entertaining show. I mean, it was an easy watch, and I'm looking forward to what's next. They definitely set up Raw with the CM Punk tease. Is he going to go to Raw? Is he going to stay on SmackDown? What is going on with CM Punk? Monday night, we're going to have that answer. So we got that cliffhanger for Raw. Excited for that. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your viewership and support. Again, No DQ review will be on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be talking more about CM Punk. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, who's in bigger trouble, Bayley or Jimmy Uso? I would say Jimmy at this point. Bayley's got a face turn coming, and she's gonna be really over once she turns, and she might even have some help. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there that somebody that she's had a past with could be coming to help her. We'll see. Never say never in wrestling, right? CM Punk came back. Jimmy Uso, though, man, he just feels like he's a punching bag at this point. He's like Brian Cage in an AEW match. Like, whenever Brian Cage is in a match, he's going to be the one to take the fall. He's one of those guys where he's just there to be pinned. That's what Jimmy Uso is at this point. So he really needs something. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see something with Jimmy and Jay, but poor Jimmy just feels like a job guy at this point. He really needs to be elevated more, especially if they're doing Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania. Just there, Jimmy Uso. I like it. I mean, I don't like it for Jimmy, but that works as a nickname. You got main event, Jay Uso, and just there, Jimmy Uso. Sad but true. Thank you all again. Have a great night. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And remember, say yeah to NoDQ.com. Buy a shirt, NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you all next time.